Hey guys, what's up, Communications? Welcome to my review of Non-Stop. 2014 film. Been a pretty decent hit so far, starring Liam Neeson and directed by the guy who directed Unknown, which also had Liam Neeson, which I didn't care for that much. But the guy also directed the House of Wax remake, which I enjoyed. Jaume Collet-Serra. And I don't know if I said his name correctly, I probably didn't. And this is a new action flick that came out last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago. And critics have been pretty kind to it. It's got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. Everybody loves this movie. Everybody really enjoys it and really likes it. Even one of my best friends on YouTube here, my good friend Matt, Rambo Rat for Life, he feels that way too. He really enjoyed it. He did a review. It's a great review. You should check it out if you want a different viewpoint. You know, a more positive viewpoint on this movie. Because I have some things I like about this movie, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of Non-Stop. I don't find it a great movie. I don't find it one of the best movies of the year so far, at least for me. I just didn't think it was much of anything to me. I thought it was boring. I thought it was slow. I thought it was just, there really wasn't much going on. There's only so much you can do with text messages. Yeah, it's ingenious the way that they put them on the screen. They did a good job with that. It doesn't really excite me. It's not really thrilling. The movie felt long and drawn out to me. The whodunit aspect wasn't interesting to me. I know it was interesting to a lot of people, but to me it wasn't. I really wasn't interested in it because honestly I found it fairly predictable and kind of cliche, paint by the numbers. Oh look, it's this guy. He looks suspicious. It could be him. Oh no, it's not him. Or it could be Julianne Moore. Oh no, it's not her. Oh, it could be this guy. And I watched this movie twice. The first time I watched it, I hated it because it was not an action movie. Pissed me off because the trailer's advertised as an action film, and it's called Non-Stop, and it was slow-paced, it was more of a mystery, and it was more of a drama than it really was an action film. There were a few action sequences, but in my opinion, there really weren't much of anything memorable except for the one you already saw in the trailer, where, you know, the cabin loses pressure or something, and Liam Neeson uses the Force and shoots a gun. That's the only memorable action sequence in the entire movie, in my opinion, because everything else really isn't memorable at all. It's either shaky cam, a fight scene with some other air marshal dude in a bathroom, and it's in an airplane bathroom stall. Like, you can't make that exciting. There's not enough space to do anything with that. So, you know, it didn't do anything for me with that fight scene. There's another fight scene with some other guy, who, you know, some black guy who turns out to be a terrorist, which I saw coming a mile away. Even, I mean, not just because I saw it a second time around, but the first time I saw this movie, I predicted shit. Like, I thought, okay, it's the nerdy white guy that he is suspected anyway, the school teacher guy that he duct taped. He's going to be one of the terrorists. Oh, yep, I'm right. I was right. They tried to mislead you as the audience to try to make you think he isn't the one. He isn't behind it, but really he is. And then, oh, it's going to be the black guy, too, who's this techno geek. Oh, he's also a terrorist, too. Okay, I predicted that. Oh, and the bomb, it's going to be in that briefcase that had cocaine in it. Yeah, I'm right, yeah. A bomb with cocaine in it. Somehow got on the fucking plane, but I'll get into that soon enough. But before I get into the stuff that I didn't like about this movie, and why I didn't find this movie to be really that all that enthralling or interesting or exciting, is that there were some good things about it I liked. Liam Neeson was great. Liam Neeson the second time around made the film watchable for me because I looked at it as more of a drama and more of a than an action film. It's more of a dramatic mystery thriller, and he carried the film and he did a great job with his performance. You know, there were scenes where he just used his eyes, and you could tell that he was feeling certain emotions. He didn't have to say anything. It's a tragic character. He played named Bill Marks, who his daughter passed away recently of cancer, and he lost his family, and, you know, he's an alcoholic, and the best moments of this film to me were the moments where they were building character. So the character building moments were the best moments of Nonstop for me. The moments when Liam Neeson has to explain to everyone on the plane because they think he's a terrorist, and he's like, no, I'm just a, I'm not a terrorist. I'm an air marshal. My daughter, she passed away of cancer, and she was diagnosed with leukemia, and she passed away, and I was doing my job, and I should have been there for her, and I'm a bad father. I lost my family. I'm an alcoholic. Really good performance by Liam Neeson. There's a few other moments where he's good too. Some fun moments, like when he's telling everybody who's freaking out in the plane. He's all like, free air travel. Free air travel for a year. Free air travel. Trying to get them to shut the fuck up. And then, and calm down. And Julianne Moore was good as in a supporting role. As Jen Summers, and I like the line of dialogue she has when Liam Neeson thinks she's a suspect, and she explains that she has this scar that she has in her chest, that she had an aneurysm or something, like in her heart. She had surgery on it, but the doctors were telling her that it could go off again at any time, and she could die. And so she basically explains to Liam Neeson that the only reason why I took a window seat is not because I want to be next to you, because I'm in on this whole thing. It's because I could die. I could die now. I could die today, and I'd rather die looking at the window than die looking, at the back of somebody's head. I'll live my life like it. I live my life like it's my last, and I would like to look out the window. So I like that. I like that scene. You dick. But they're good. The acting is good. Some of it anyway. I mean, the main terrorist guy, the nerdy white guy, isn't really the greatest actor in the world. I think Scott McNairy, I think that's who that is. I don't know. I think it's who it is. Tom Bowen, I think that's who the actor is. Could be totally wrong. But yeah, this movie, so I like those things, and I like that one action sequence where Liam Neeson uses the Force and shoots the bad guy in the head, and that's about it. And I like the directing, I like the style, the way that the film was directed, and I like the way it was lit. The lighting was well done. But other than that, that's the positives for me. That's a good amount of positives, but it just doesn't equate to a great film to me. It doesn't equate to a movie that I genuinely enjoyed and loved and would watch over and over again. It's a movie that I might buy for $3 on DVD at buybacks or $2, but it's not something I'm buying when it first comes out. And it's a movie I'm perfectly fine with not watching again or not having as a part of my collection. I'll pick it up if it's cheap, but it's not something that's like so good that I really actively want to go out and buy it when it comes out. I just can't say that about this movie. I'm going to be the guy who's going to be the opposite. I'm going to be probably doing the opposite, not just because I want to be different, because I want to, I don't know, I want to go against the norm. No, this is honestly how I feel. I did not care for this movie. The first time around, I hated it. The second time around, I was just like, okay, it's just there. And the only reason why it's there is because of Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. Mainly because of Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson does such a great job of his performance that he carries the film and keeps it together for the time being. Without Liam Neeson, this movie, forgettable. Forgettable movie without Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's in it, does a good job. There are a few other things here and there, like Julianne Moore's performance and a few other, camera techniques, unique uses of the camera and so forth, and the way they put the text messages on the screen. Okay, that makes it, a little bit interesting, but it wasn't interesting enough. I felt the movie was slow paced. I felt it was boring. I wanted to fall asleep both times around. I wanted to make fun of it, but I knew that because I was watching it with my friend the second time around, and he was getting into it, so I didn't make fun of it, because I knew, that's kind of, if somebody's getting into the movie, I shouldn't be making fun of it, because the other person's trying to enjoy it, trying to get involved in the film, so I should shut the fuck up and not, interrupt things. It's just, I think ultimately it doesn't go down to, it's not down to this movie's bad. As a film of its genre, as a film, you know, in this plane hijacking genre, it's one of the better films in this genre. Like, it's better than Turbulence, it's better than Flight Plan, you know, it's better than all of the airport movies. I wouldn't say it's better than Air Force One, and I would say I enjoy Passenger 57 more, but, you know, that's not saying much, because this genre, to me personally, is one of my least favorite genres. I don't care for plane hijacking movies most of the time, because this genre is so severely limited in what it can do. Because it's stuck on a plane in a tight enclosed space. Any action sequences you have, you don't have a lot of room to do any type of choreography, so it's gonna be fast and it's gonna be quick and it's gonna be a fight scene that you're gonna blink and you're gonna miss it. Then anything to do with suspense, it's gonna either end up being a mystery whodunit, who's the terrorist, or they're gonna reveal the terrorist early in the film, like an executive decision, and you already know who it is, but you, the audience, know who it is, but the good guy doesn't. Or you're going to have a killer on the plane, like Ray Liotta in Turbulence, and somehow something's going to happen on the plane. There's going to be a bomb on the plane. They got to try to disarm it, and then they got to try to land the plane safely, and everybody, you know, needs to just turn. They're going to try to land the plane safely and save everybody on board. It's been done dozens of times, and it always ends the same way. The plane lands, everybody is fine. You have an explosion or some shit or something. The good guy beats the bad guy. End of story. And I understand that there's a lot of action movies that are like that. But this genre, to me, unlike other action genres, is so restrictive that it doesn't sustain my interest that much. Because it just is the same goddamn thing. You can have a different actor. You can have Liam Neeson instead of Harrison Ford. You can have Liam Neeson instead of, you know, Lauren Holly, like in Turbulence. But it's still, or Kurt Russell, like in Executive Decision. But much like Executive Decision had this sort of slow pace going on. Had two actors that I liked, in Kurt Russell and John Leguizamo. And I like their performances, just like I like Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore. But I don't like that movie. I think that movie's a piece of shit. Is this movie a piece of shit? No, Nonstop isn't a piece of shit because it's not nearly as long as Executive Decision, and it kind of picks up a little bit in pace after the first 45 minutes or so. But the first 45 minutes or so, to me, you have text messages supposed to build the suspense. And I'm sorry, text messages just don't make me, like, they're not thrilling to watch. Text messages pop up on the screen. And the action sequences they did have were not memorable at all, other than Liam Neeson using the Force and shooting some guy in the head. Because the fight scene he had with the black guy, who to me looked like Jamie Foxx in Living Color, was like blink and you miss it. He fought him with like the air oxygen mask thing and strangled his ass, and that's it. The dirty air marshal guy took him out in 2 seconds in the bathroom stall in a really tight and close quarters where they might as well be just fucking each other for all I know, because it's just so fucking tightly, you know, packed, you know, together in this tiny ass fucking stall that it just really wasn't much of anything. And then I thought it also had a score that was like, I like the score at points, but other times I don't like it because I feel it's out of place. Sounds like a horror film, and I understand they're trying to build a mystery, but it literally sounds like a slasher film score or something at points to me, and that just wasn't the right vibe. And especially in the fight scene in the stall, I thought it was a little bit over the top. So you have a few good moments here and there. The best moments of the film to me are the dramatic moments, are the moments where it's building character for either Liam Neeson's character or Julianne Moore's character. The action sequences to me, they aren't much. The pacing I thought was a bit slow, and, you know, kind of dumb. The whole revelation at the end, who the terrorist is, and why he did what he did, I thought was fucking stupid. He was a former victim of 9/11. He was a former, not victim of 9/11. He was a former, well, in a way, a victim because his family died in 9/11, and he waits 13 fucking years to get his revenge. And for some reason, his idea of, avenging 9/11 is to fucking, blow up a plane and blame an air marshal on it, so it'll increase security protocols even more than they already are. Because he's like, it was so easy. I did this. I paid off the air marshal guy. Got him to bring a briefcase on board with cocaine and a bomb in the cocaine. And it was so easy. And I'm like, this is way too easy. There's no way it's this easy in real life. If it is, that's terrifying. And I can see why we could need more security protocols. But I read some things online. And I know you can't believe everything you read online. But I couldn't believe this. TSA agents, the security, you also have air marshals. Air marshals aren't the first line of defense, it's the TSA agents, and then the air marshals honestly the last line of defense. And I know the air marshal can just flip his badge and go for security, but I guarantee they go through some sort of security checkpoint that's not the TSA and regular checkpoint that we go through, the American public. Just because he's a federal air marshal doesn't mean that he's high and above reproach, can't be searched and seizured or whatever. I guarantee after 9/11 that these federal air marshals are getting checked, and security checkpoints that aren't the ones that are seen by the public. They're getting checked behind closed doors before they get on the plane, which makes me believe that the idea of a fucking air marshal bringing on a briefcase with not only cocaine in it, but a bomb is fucking absurd. Because I just don't see that fucking happening. I guarantee that bomb is not getting on the fucking plane unless they paid off a TSA agent, paid off the baggage claim guy who drives around that cart, throws fucking shit on the plane, paid off the pilot. The pilot comes on before everybody, just like the crew, just like the air marshal and the airplane crew, the people who work on the airplane, the pilot, the stewardess, all that kind of stuff. They know who the air marshal is, I think, before he gets on the plane. And they all get on the plane at the same time. And I guarantee the pilot's getting checked. Guarantee the stewardess, they're getting checked beforehand, behind closed doors, and security shit. You're not bringing a fucking bomb on the plane just because you're a fucking air marshal. I don't think the Federal Air Marshal Service. I don't think the air traffic. What is it? What is the fucking name for it? What's the name for the airport association? Whatever the fuck. I don't know what exactly the term, but I don't think that our government and the security protocols that they increased after 9/11 is that fucking stupid that they wouldn't have the same security protocols for their employees. I'm pretty damn sure they do. I know probably the FBI does. Probably sure every other fucking NRA, this fucking CIA, all those things. I'm pretty sure they have security protocols. Just because you flash a badge doesn't mean you ain't getting searched. That bomb isn't getting on the fucking plane. And also the whole motivation was fucking retarded, in my opinion. I'm a victim of 9/11, so I'm going to become a terrorist. Yeah, great fucking writing. Yeah. I'm sorry, I hate that plot point. It pisses me off because it's making the victims of 9/11 into fucking terrorists. It's not a I can't think of a single person who had family members who died in 9/11 who would even consider blowing up a fucking plane and killing more people in a 9/11 type attack in order to increase security. Such a stupid fucking plot, in my opinion. Stupid reasoning behind this attack. Of course, they get the money too. $150 million. And they're planning on parachuting out to where? They have no idea where the fuck they're going to parachute out to. You're going to parachute out of a fucking plane at 30,000 feet? Brilliant idea! End up like D.B. Cooper. Fucking dead. So, I just... Yeah, it's a review / rant. Because I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I think it's a little bit overrated. I'm sorry. I think a 7.4... way too high of a rating for this movie. It's not a great film. To me, it's okay at best. It's a mediocre movie that is only mediocre because of Liam Neeson and Julianne Moore and some good camera techniques and like one action sequence. But to me, it's just the same shit. I've seen this plot. I've seen this movie. I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. And it's probably because of this genre. There's only so much you can fucking do with this genre of airplane, plane hijacking movies. There's only so much you can do with this genre. Like if Die Hard 2 was taking place entirely on the plane with Bonnie Bedelia and John McClane, between, Bonnie Bedelia, McClane's wife, and John McClane, and the terrorist action happened on the plane, and you didn't just have like in the movie where it would cut to her on the plane and drama with that, and then cut back to what's going on in the airport. If Die Hard 2 was like this, stuck entirely on the plane for the entire running time, it would be probably pretty much the same movie. Because there's only so much you can fucking do with an airplane hijacking movie. Because you're in an enclosed space, you can't do jack shit, so you have to do whodunit shit, or you have to do we already know who the terrorist is. That's the problem. It's a genre that's been done to death. One that you can predict what the hell is going to happen pretty much from point A to point B to point C, and it just isn't that thrilling to me. It's not that interesting. It's not that involving. Liam Neeson is great, and Julianne Moore did a solid job, and the directing was good, but the idea just did nothing for me. Text messages just weren't thrilling to watch, and the mystery I figured out in halfway through the movie, and then the ending was predictable, and the reasoning behind the terrorists' actions was fucking retarded to me. It's one of those anti-America movies. Well, not really, but it kind of is. Painting the 9/11 victim as a fucking terrorist, and then having scenes where you have to make the audience realize that the Muslim guy isn't a terrorist. He's a good guy. He's a doctor. Which I'm like, okay, cool, that's nice. But to paint a fucking 9/11 victim as a terrorist, it's not fucking cool. It's different. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's a good idea. And then also taking the whole... I mean, it's just... And the whole plot point of it's 9/11 shit, it's like, move on. It's a horrible thing. It happened. It was awful. But we don't need any more movies about 9/11 or referencing 9/11. It was terrible. Move on. Just like a lot of people, American people, already have. We'll never forget it. But we need to move on with our films. And we need to move on from that. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. If I do, I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. We need to not. We don't need to be dwelling on 9/11. Do we still dwell on Pearl Harbor? Do we still dwell on the Oklahoma City bombing? Those were terrible. Those are horrible things in our history. But we moved on, and we become stronger, and we were able to still persevere after that. We don't need to keep bringing that up. And this plot and this script sounds so goddamn old. This should have been, if this came out in 2001, after 9/11, or 2002, it might make sense to have this sort of harebrained plot, terrorist plot, where a former 9/11 victim blows up a fucking plane in order to increase security protocols. But if it happened then, it would never fucking be made because it was too controversial at that point. So they had to wait 13 fucking years to make a film that has this type of plot, and it just doesn't fucking work. Because it's either offensive, it's both offensive and stupid. Because it's too little too late, and it's also offensive. So I don't understand the praise for this movie. It's one of those movies I don't get why it's getting praise. I don't understand it. My friend loves it, that's cool. To each their own, if you love it, that's awesome. But I don't love this movie. I thought it was, pretty much a generic, by the numbers, run-of-the-mill thriller on a plane that I've seen done a dozen times or more. And the only thing that makes it watchable is Liam Neeson, Julianne Moore, and a few sequences, like one action sequence, and it's well shot and well lit and well directed. That's the only fucking thing I can really say about this movie that I can hold in high regard, because everything else to me was either boring, lackluster, or really not much of anything. So, yeah, that's my opinion on Non-Stop. I thought it was, I wouldn't say non-stop boredom, but, maybe in the middle with that, maybe it was non-stop boredom for like the first 40 minutes, then it got interesting, and then it lost my interest again. I just thought it was... I just didn't think it was that great of a movie. I hope I'm not the only one, because I know there's a lot of friends on here that love the movie, and that's cool. Just I thought it was just there. I was like, okay, it's all right, I guess. It's okay. Liam Neeson is great as a badass, but I like I said, we sound like a broken record. It's this fucking genre. I don't like this genre. It's not my cup of tea. Anyway, my favorite movies in this genre, like Air Force One and Passion 57. Passion 57 even landed the damn plane and took the action out of the plane. Air Force One kept it on the plane, but I thought that did a hell of a lot better job than this movie did in terms of the suspense and the thrills and the action. You know, in fact, the plane actually felt like there was there was more space in it, because I think it probably was, because it was Air Force One. This is just a passenger airline. But yeah, that's it. That's my review / rant of nonstop. I don't know what else to say about this movie. It wasn't nonstop excitement. It wasn't nonstop thrills. But it wasn't necessarily nonstop boredom. But it was just nonstop meh for me. Just meh. It was a big giant heaping pile of meh. So anyway, yeah. Was to rate this out of 5 stars. Like I said, I'll give it 3. It's a 3-star flick. It's the definition of a 3-star flick. It's a movie that you can watch. Time waster at best. I wouldn't even know if I'd waste my time with this. I'd rather waste it with some other movie. Just Liam Neeson is great. Supporting cast is good. Some well-shot sequences. One action sequence that was okay, but it lasted 10 seconds. Using a force, shooting some guy. And that's it. Land the plane, everybody's fine. And, you know, that was a boring movie most of the time. That had no action sequences, except for one that were at all memorable, and was more of a drama than anything else. And I'm sorry, I don't want dramatic action movies! I don't want that shit. I want an action film. But the problem, like I said, genre. You can't do that much with this genre. So it's going to end up being a drama or a mystery either way. Doesn't matter what you do, it's going to end up like that either way you do it. So, yeah. So anyway, that's my review of Non-Stop. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. See ya.